Hey guys, this week, the tutorial that's due on Wednesday, homework assignment due on Wednesday, is over simplifying square roots. And the tutorial shows you two different ways to do it, where you separate it into a perfect square and other numbers multiplying to it, and then another one where you do prime factorization. Both of those are very good ways of doing it. But I have another way that I've taught in the classroom in the past that kids really seem to understand and like. So I thought I would share that with you guys. So let's start. Let me give you an example. This is another form of prime factorization. It's just shown a little differently. And the kids that I've worked with in the past, we tend to call this the cake method, just because the way it stacks up, it kind of looks like a cake. So anyways, we're going to do prime factors. And so we're going to start by taking the square root, the square root of 12. So we're going to start by taking our number under the radical. We're going to divide it by prime numbers. Now, the prime numbers that we're going to use most often when doing this are 2, 3, and 5. Sometimes you'll use 7, sometimes 11, sometimes 13, but 2, 3, and 5 are the ones you're going to use most often. So we're going to start by dividing by a prime number. If your number that you're working with is even, start with 2. That's just an easy thing to do. So we're going to start by dividing by 2. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. Now 6 is not prime. So we are going to, again, divide. It's even, so let's divide by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now 3 is prime, so we're done. We stop. All right, so those our prime factors are 2, 2, and 3. So to be able to take a number outside of the square root sign or out from underneath the square root sign, it has to have a pair. You have to have a pair of numbers. Or as Miss Rosenbaum would say, your number has to have a date to be able to go to the dance. So we're going to take out a pair of 2s, but it comes out as a 2, not as 4. It comes out as 2. So we got a 2. Anything left over by itself without a partner can't go to the dance, so it has to stay home under the square root sign. So we will simplify that as 2 times the square root of 3. The 2 had a partner, so it came out to the dance. 3 didn't have a partner, so it had to stay home. All right, let's try another one. A square root of 18. All right, so 18 is even, so let's divide by 2. 18 divided by 2 is 9. 9's not prime. It's also not even, so we can't divide by 2, but 9 is divisible by 3. So we're going to divide by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 is prime, so we're done. So we've got a pair of 3s, so they can come out to the dance. The 2's by itself, it has to stay home. So this simplifies to 3 square root of 2. Let's do square root of 24. All right, so we've got 24 over here. It's even, so we'll divide by 2. 24 divided by 2 is 12. 12 is even, so let's divide that by 2. 6. 6 is even, so divide that by 2. Left with a 3. 3 is prime, so we're done. We have a pair of 2s, so that's going to come out as a 2. You'll notice we have 2 numbers here left by themselves. Those are both going to stay under the radical sign, and what we'll do is we'll end up multiplying them. So our 2 on the outside, 2 times 3 is 6, so 2 square root 6 is our simplified expression. Square root of 96. All right, so let's do 96. It's divisible by 2. Get the calculator real quick. 96 divided by 2 is 48. That's even, so divide by 2. 24. Oops, 24. That's even, so divide by 2. Excuse me, 12. That's even, so divide by 2. Leaves us with 6, and that's even, so divide by 2. And that gives us 3. So 3 is prime or done. All right, so we got a pair of 2s. That comes out as a 2. We have another pair of 2s. That's also going to come out as a 2. So in this case, we have 2 2s outside of our radical sign. And then we have a 2 and a 3 left over by themselves. So those stay under the radical sign. So 2 times 3. So 2 times 2 on the outside is 4. 2 times 3 under the square root is 6. So it comes out as 4 square roots of 6. All right, so that's the cake method, It'll also work if you're doing the algebraic expressions where you have x squared and y squared under the square root sign. Let me clear all drawings. Okay, so for example, let's do the square root of 20 x to the 7th y squared. All right, so we'll do the cake method on our 20. 20 is even, so we'll divide by 2. 20 divided by 2 is 10. 10 is not prime, so again, divide by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 is prime, so we're done there. Got a pair of 2s that comes out as a 2. And we have a 5 left over. Now, to do our x to the 7th, so when we take our numbers out, we have to have a pair of numbers. So if you look at x to the 7th, that's the same as x times itself 7 times. So that's 5, 6, 7. So we would have one pair of x's that comes out as an x, another pair of x's that comes out as an x, another pair of x's that come out as an x, and then we have one x left over. And so that would be x times x times x times the square root of x, or x to the 3rd. Now, another way you can look at it is take your exponent, which is 7, and divide it by 2. That gives you 3.5. So we would have x to the 3rd and 1 left over under the square root. So this will be x to the 3rd, square root of x. And then lastly, we have our y squared, square root of y squared. That's y times y, which is a pair of y's. That comes out as a y. So anything outside of the radical, we can multiply together. So we can multiply the 2, the x to the 3rd, and the y. So that would be 2x cubed y. And anything left over under the square root sign, we would multiply together, square root of 5x. So basically, when you're working with your exponents, you want to take the biggest even number that'll go in here. So 6 is the biggest even number for 7. Divide that by 2 gives you 3, and you have 1x left over. Y squared, 2 is even, divide that by 2, that gives you 1. You have 1y that goes on the outside. Let me try one more. Hopefully that'll make some sense. Clear drawings. Let's do square root of 24 x to the 3rd y to the 6th. All right, so 24. 24 divided by 2 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 is prime or done. So we got a pair of 2s that comes out. We have a 2 times 3 left over. All right, so x to the 3rd, that's, let's see, 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. So we'd have an x come out and 1x left over. So x out, 1 left. We'll always have 1 left if it's an odd number. So that would be x square root of x. 6 is even. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So that would be y to the 3rd. We don't have anything left over. So anything outside the square root, we multiply. 2 x y to the third. Anything left over inside, we multiply. 2 times 3 times x is 6x. So I hope that helped. If the methods that were in the tutorial didn't help, then hopefully that will. I will have office hours on Wednesday the 9th from 2 to 3 on Zoom. If you need any help with any specific questions on homework or just in general, we can just practice simplifying square roots. It's an easy thing to do. The good thing about the cake method is we can always extend it. If we're finding the cubed root, we would take groups of 3 instead of groups of 2. If we were doing the 4th root, we'd take groups of 4 instead of groups of 2. So it's extendable to other things, and we'll be doing cube roots later in this unit, so it'll be helpful for that. All right, so reach out if you need any help, and I hope if you have questions that you'll come see me on Wednesday.